Hello, zany friends, and welcome to the Elated Geek Book Club discussion of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Very anticipated book.
Very much so.
Highly anticipated book. If you want to know what we are talking about next month, in the month of March, yes, we are reading Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. So the last day of March, we will have our discussion for that up, so we hope you join us for that. All right, so let's jump in with Onyx Storm. So a little bit about this, right? So it is the third book in the Empyrean series. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
I keep on thinking of it as the Wing series because of the first book.
Yeah, I think it's the Empyrean. They talk about, like, the Dragon Council, whatever, is the Empyrean. I think that's whatever. Okay, I think that's the name of the series. It is what it is. All right, this edition that I have is actually the Barnes & Noble special edition because I got the rest of them from Barnes & Noble and I wanted them all to match. It comes with really beautiful sprayed edges. Nothing really interesting about that. However, it does come with a map of the continent.
Yeah, that would have been helpful for me.
I actually did also read this with a girl that I do buddy reads with. Her name was Erin. And she listens to the books and I always physically read the books. And this book in particular, I actually started listening to it, and then when I got the physical book, which I got 3 days after that, I started reading it, and I saw that there's lists of the students and their dragons, and then that map, and I was like, okay, that's 1,000 times more helpful than listening to it, because listening to it I was like, I have never heard some of these names before.
It is this book was the first time that I found out Xaden's name was spelled with an X.
You thought it was spelled with a Z?
Correct.
Okay then, so it is not as, I think it's 100 pages less than the other two books, which is interesting. What do you think of this cover in general?
Well, this is an interesting blend of darkness and light, which is kind of what the whole thing is about. Mm-hmm. But more specifically, what I found interesting was that the light is silver, mm-hmm. which is kind of a nod back to the hair, which is a massive part of the story of this book. Right. And of course, you have the design, which is just iconic to the series.
And Onyx Storm is obviously something that they reference all the time as being of Xaden. He is the Onyx Storm of energy.
And honestly, this book is kind of about that.
Right. It is. All right, so a little bit of a summary. What is a summary that we can actually give you for this book? If you have not read the first two, don't watch this video. Read the first two, then read this one, then come back.
We'll see you in a couple years.
Correct.
So this book kind of leads off after they've gotten the wards back up a little bit, but not entirely, and they're failing. They don't have much time left. Right. So they're going to go out and try and find the 7th breed of dragon, which is the young girl dragon.
Endara.
Endara.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a hard time with all the names because I did this in 2 days.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
I did this in 2 days. It was a rush. But they're going to go try and find her kind. Hopefully they can come back, reignite the ward stones, get everything running again. But there's more going on. Hopefully they can also get some allies in the war at the same time. So they're going world tour.
Which could be also, it's confusing, but also things happen.
Lots of things.
Things happen in that world tour. Here comes the spoilers, guys, if you haven't read this book yet. Things that we find out during the world tour. Xaden's mother's extended family. They're idiots.
Yep. Xaden's mother isn't all that smart either. For an entire culture that values intelligence and things like that, they're dumb.
Right.
Why am I saying they dumb so often these days? There's too many stupid people.
Okay, so there's that whole thing where we get the fake out of Garrett being poisoned and then he gets better, right? So then we go to what I'm calling the Luck Island, which I both went in the same page.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, just not as intensely. And then I got to the portions that came after that, and I'm just kind of like, what was the point?
And what happened to the kitten?
What happened to Broccoli? As soon as they named that cat needed to be a part of the plotline, that cat was going to solve a problem. So if in the next book, that cat does not come back to save the world, things.
Are you, yes. How you really feel. All right, I want to tell you, though, how I really feel about this book. I feel like this book was rushed, not really thought through enough. I had a real issue with things that were being dropped in conversations that people were saying that had no explanation and no reference. I would go back and reread it and be like, did I miss something? Who is that person? Or what are they talking about in this thing? And I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. It was very, like, incomplete. I don't know how else to describe it other than I think that there was a lot that was missed. Was it intense? Yes. Was it a ride? Was it enjoyable? Sure. Except for the times where I was so frustrated that I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I kind of got this feeling like in the attempt to get this book out, get it out quickly, on her timeline, she steamrolled her characters, not actually letting them do what they want to do,
right,
and instead just doing what the plot called for them to do. And that led to some having to justify actions that didn't necessarily make sense.
Exactly. Okay, so this is your second warning. Big spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about the end of this book, okay? Because theories abound as to what is happening here. So the first thing I think we need to talk about is who is Xaden's brother at the end of the book. The one who is turning into venom. Who is this?
So we both have the same theory. We came up from the same facts. We both think that it's Garrick. It's just the way that it's somebody who he couldn't kill for the same reasons he couldn't kill her. Just the same loyalty, the same love.
But he also says he couldn't believe that this person had been with them since the beginning, saw him struggle with being a venom from the beginning, and still made the choice, apparently, of becoming. And those three people, if it is in fact a male, because he says brother, so we're guessing it's a male, those three people are Garrick, Brennan, and Bodhi. It's not Brennan, because Brennan went to go be with Mira. And the only reason why it might be is because we don't know where the timeline is of when this conversation was taking place. I personally don't think it's Bodhi because Garrick can teleport.
Yeah.
And so if this timeline happened the way it looks like it happened, Garrick could have taken Mira over to be with Brennan and then come back to this conversation. So that's really the only reason why I think it is, but
at the same time, when I was just listening to how he was talking, that was the very first character that came to mind. I'm like, oh, he's turned after his death.
Right.
This somewhat actually makes sense.
Right.
After his death.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then before we get to the second part, I want to tell you what I kind of came up with this time reading it is that the author's name, the initials are R.Y. And in this book we have a Rhydock and a Rhiannon, both of which are referred to as Rye. And I was like, how she might have written herself into these characters. All right, let's talk about the end part where what happens to Violet?
Yeah.
You forgot, didn't you?
For a half second, I did.
So Violet can't remember what happens to her. She all of a sudden wakes up. She's with Imogen. She's with Brennan. She's with, I think Mira is there too. And she is like, what happened? And then she sees that she has a ring. And she looks at Imogen and says, what did you do? And she basically was like, what you told me to. Okay, so she's married. She is now the Duchess of Tyrrendor. And the repercussions of that is because she and Xaden are connected, that maybe if they try to kill her, they can kill him. But if they try to kill him, they can kill her. But technically, she would be safe because she's now connected to a venom.
But she's also the Duchess of Tyrrendor, so killing either one of them causes a political incident. So both of them are safe. But what I really saw out of this is the next book feels like it is really about tracking him down, actually solving the problem, and figuring it all out. Almost The Hangover, in a way. The Hangover with dragons.
Right, what happened when I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. And that also brings up the fact, too, that if Bodhi is not the brother, the Venin brother, that Bodhi can actually help her kind of navigate through all of the political stuff as well.
Yeah.
But if he is, then that means everybody is on the Venin side. I don't know if that would actually work. But anyway, yeah. Any other thoughts about this whole book?
I'm just thinking about
broccoli.
Poor broccoli.
If you have thoughts as well, make sure you put them down below. What are your theories? Are we wrong? Are we completely wrong about Garrett? Tell me, but you have to tell me why. Don't just be like, it's this for something. No. Tell us why, or else your point is not valid.
Facts, or it didn't happen.
Right. Back it up. Footnotes. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you join us next month as we read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. And until next time,
stay zany.